Alright, everyone, welcome back to the Undrafted Experts. This is Zach with my final mock draft for the 2022 NFL Draft. I'll be honest, I'm just about as clueless as I was when I started this process. This is going to be probably the most unpredictable draft we've ever had. There's no clear-cut number one. The Jaguars are debating between Trayvon Walker, Aiden Hutchinson, I'm assuming Thibodeau, maybe Neal, and then Ekwonu. I know Walker, Hutchinson, and Ekwonu are confirmed, but this is going to be a very interesting draft. I know for a fact I'm going to be wrong on at least half these picks, but we're going to do it anyway, Originally, my plan was to do 5 mock drafts this off-season, but with how unpredictable this off-season has been, decided I'd keep it at 4. And just so you guys know, we will be live on YouTube on this channel this Thursday at either 7 p.m. Eastern or 7:30 p.m. Eastern. It's not confirmed which one yet. To have live reactions to picks, to talk any big time trades that happened during the draft. We're probably gonna do round 1. That's almost guaranteed, and then we may or may not do round 2 and 3 or day 2. Probably won't cover day 3, just because not saying that day 3 picks aren't important. There's been a lot of great ones over the years. But it doesn't draw as much attention as day 1 or day 2. But anyway, we're going to try to not really speed through this. But I want to get this done kind of quickly. So without further ado, the number 1 pick, I'm still saying Aiden Hutchinson to the Jaguars. We've heard Walker. We've heard Ekwonu. I just can't get over the idea of going Hutchinson here. That's just my opinion. It's either Hutchinson, Neal, or Ekwonu. Those are my 3. I don't see Trayvon Walker. I know that's what it sounds like, but I don't like the idea of going Walker. Let's put it that way. It may happen, but I'm not going to particularly like it. Number 2 to the Lions. Got them taking Kayvon Thibodeau. He's been projected to fall for the past 3 months now, it seems. But I think the talent and just the ability of the player is going to outweigh the majority of the concerns. And Detroit, who could really use an edge rusher, would be more than satisfied in taking Kayvon Thibodeau here. And this leaves the Texans. I know Texans fans have ridiculed me before for this, but I'm going Ekwonu. He's going to be the prototypical offensive lineman of the future, in my opinion. An offensive lineman who can play every position. I'll exclude center, because center usually you're an exclusively center. But this is something that my co-host Tyler has brought up. And, I agree with him. I do believe Ekwonu is going to be the pioneer of the mid-2020s and 2030s offensive lineman. It's just the way I see it. Then at 4, I've got the Jets going Trayvon Walker. I told you I don't like it at 1. I still don't really like it at 4. But it seems pretty obvious. Trayvon Walker is going to go top 5. Do I think he deserves it? No. I think his combine grades are being unbelievably hyped up. You look at the tape, he was good. But he didn't stand out. And there were like 5 other first-round picks on that D-line, and he didn't stand out. How is that worthy of being the first one off the board? Just my personal opinion. Hate me for it or not. That's how I view it. And then at 5, Giants, I've got them taking Evan Neal. Seems to be their favorite tackle of the class. And because the Texans go Iquanu, with the idea of him either being able to play guard or any spot on the O-line. Because the thing you got to know with Iquanu, he's listed as an offensive tackle. He can play both sides. And he can play left and right guard. The only spot I think we haven't seen him play is center. And who knows? Maybe he'll be able to do that too. I don't think you'd want him at center, but I don't doubt it with him. Now at 6, I've got a bit of a proposition here. Everyone has been saying Malik Willis as of late, and I understand why. His ceiling is higher than any other QB in the class as of right now. But you know what Carolina needs? An immediate starter. Not a guy who's got to sit a year. This is Kenny Pickett. If they're going to go quarterback. They could go Charles Cross. Or take best available defense. I don't think they take defense here just because it's 2 corners and a safety. And then you could maybe say Jermaine Johnson. But they've got Brian Burns still. So, for me, this is Kenny Pickett. Could be Charles Cross. Or if Neal or Iquanu are available at 6, then I see them doing that. This could also be a trade down spot. We will see. Which, actually, I do have 2 trades in this. I will have the compensation up on the screen. Because I forgot to do that in, I think it was my second mock draft. And I had to answer a ton of questions over that because I forgot to put it up on the screen. But it will be here on this one. Now, with the Giants back up on the clock, you could go Sauce Gardner. You could go Stingley if you're really feeling that. But I'm going Kyle Hamilton. I think he's a top 5 player in the class who's going to fall because the safety position is not as valuable as every other position. It's just the way it is. Now, Falcons at 8. I'm going to go Jermaine Johnson here. Once again, could go corner. Don't think you really should, just because of the fact that you already have A.J. Terrell and you signed Casey Hayward. Could go offensive tackle. You could go receiver, but I think the Falcons may decide, well, this receiver class is really deep, and they can still get a good receiver at 43 and get a guy who isn't exactly the number 1 position in need, but I'd say it's probably the number 2 for the Falcons. And they prepare for what's probably going to be at least a 3-year-long rebuild. At least. Because they've got work to do in Atlanta. Now the Seahawks at 9. I've got them going Sauce Gardner. This is a dream scenario. I had it in my last mock too. Dream scenario is the corners fall and Seattle can snag one of the top 2. And in this scenario, they get Sauce Gardner. Now we have the Jets up again. And they're thinking, oh my God, you left Garrett Wilson on the board? Thank you. You could go Stingley. Very much possibility. But at least according from the Jets fans that I know, it seems like they're satisfied with the secondary. Could still use some work in my opinion, but I'm an outsider here, not a Jets fan. So, Garrett Wilson seems like a pretty good fit. And here is my first trade of the draft. I'm going to put it up on screen now. I've got Washington trading with Pittsburgh, as Pittsburgh will be making their big-time move to go up and get Malik Willis. It's been the big talking point as of late, or really since the draft process started, that Pittsburgh wants a QB. They want a big-time name. They're in love with what Malik Willis can do, particularly Mike Tomlin. And this is one of those scenarios that I think Malik Willis could thrive in. And that's not just me talking as a Steelers fan either. You think about it, Trubisky's going to be your starter this year. Malik Willis gets at least 1 year to sit. And that's what he needs. If he's going to go to any team, he needs to go somewhere where he can sit for a year for optimal success. Now, at number 12 for the Vikings, I have them taking Derek Stingley Jr. It's been one of my favorite landing spots for the Vikings. Or for Derek Stingley. I love the idea of keeping him in the purple and gold. I think I said it on my last mock too. There's been talks of him going as high up as 3 now, going back up the board. But y'all know my opinions on him, whether you like me for it or not. So, I think him falling to 12, that's the furthest he's going to fall if he does. Then at 13, the Texans are kind of in a weird spot. They took a corner, so they don't need Charles Cross. They don't need... Well, they could use D-line. But this was something my co-host Tim brought up when we were working on this mock draft. Because I worked on this with both of my co-hosts. He mentioned that Jameson Williams would be a great complement to Brandon Cooks in that offense. And I kind of like the idea. With the way this board has fallen, the Texans could trade out at this spot, or could possibly trade up and try to get somebody else, depending on if they really value someone in the top 10, maybe, that they want alongside. Like, I could see them in this scenario trading up with, I don't know, I mean, not probably Seattle, maybe like the Falcons, and trading up to go get Derek Stingley. But at the same time, then Jermaine Johnson may or may not be available for the Falcons at 13. Probably not. So, it would be an interesting topic, but I could see a trade happening at 13. But in this mock, I'm not going to have it happening. And then Ravens at 14. I've got them going Jordan Davis. Seems like a perfect fit in my opinion. I mean, scares me, once again, Steelers fan. So it does scare me that the Ravens could end up with Jordan Davis. But it's pretty much the perfect fit for Baltimore. And now you have Philly with their first pick of the first round. It was brought to my attention it would be a good idea for them to take Chris Olave. You've got your go up and get it guy, as Tim put it, in Devonte Smith. So now you can bring in Chris Olave, who has the speed and route running ability, which I love that idea. And before anyone starts asking, why is Charles Cross falling? Why is Drake London falling? Well, here's where Charles Cross is going to the Saints. This is a no-brainer. If Charles Cross is available at 16 and you're the Saints, you are overjoyed. But for Drake London, he's got a few more picks to go before he'll be off my board. And at 17, Tim brought up the idea, what if the Chargers went with Trent McDuffie? They did sign J.C. Jackson, but they could, and they do have Asante Samuel, but why not? You're not really going to be drafting a wide receiver 3, at least not in my opinion. You could say Trevor Penning, but then you'd have to move either him or Rashawn Slater to right tackle. I mean, it's possible, but I don't know if you'd be that confident in it. And you could also even go with Devin Lloyd. But I'm gonna listen to Tim here, and I will go Trent McDuffie. I think it's definitely viable. And then at 18, one of my favorite players in the class as of late, I've got Philly taking Andrew Booth Jr. Lockdown man-to-man corner. has just great overall abilities. And I think at 18, it's a great pick. I've had him mocked to the Patriots for a while, to be fair. But I think Philly is just as viable of an option. And then here at 19, this is when it gets a bit crazy. What do the Saints typically do in the first round? They tend to reach on somebody that nobody thinks should go in the first or where they're being picked. And it just somehow manages to either work or be a solid contributor. And that's what's going to happen here. Tim brought this up as well. So credit goes to him if this is an amazing pick. But the Saints take Logan Hall at 19. It fits the way the Saints draft. I understand that Devonte Wyatt is sitting there. But I think Logan Hall is someone who, as Tim mentioned, will surprise people that he makes his way into the first round for one of these teams in the second half of the first round. And then at 20, this is where Drake London stops falling. He's been mocked to the Commanders a good couple times from multiple people. And lucky enough for Washington, I'm just not high on Drake London. So he just happens to be there at 20. I'll just be honest. Drake London's probably going to go anywhere from 10 to 15. I'm just not high on Drake London. Haven't been for a while. Call me a hater, that's fine. Because I don't hate him, but I'm not high on him. Personal opinion. And then at 21 for the Patriots, got them taking Devin Lloyd. Seems like a great fit for the Patriots. I don't see them going out and reaching for Elam here or McCreary. And let's just think about it. Patriots are one of the best teams at drafting second-round DBs. Why would I doubt them this year? And then at 22, the Packers are up. And we're going to do something different than what I think a lot of people think. George Karlaftis is on the board. They need a replacement for Zadarius Smith. Done. I know everyone's mocking receiver at 22. But they do still have pick 28. And let's be real. When does Green Bay ever spend their first pick on a receiver? Never. Then the Cardinals at 23. This was Tyler's idea. But we have Zion Johnson going at 23. There is Kenyon Green on the board. There is Tyler Linderbaum. I don't particularly think, because you have Rodney Hudson still, if I remember correctly. You don't have to go center here. It would be a backup spot, if anything. Zion Johnson or Kenyon Green can be immediate starters. I've mocked Kyer Elam to the Cardinals. I can definitely see that. But in this scenario, I was open to listening to my fellow co-hosts, and that's what was decided upon. Now at 24, this is Tim's favorite team, and he's made it pretty clear to me. If it's not Linderbaum, he will not be. If it's not Linderbaum or Kenyon Green, he will not be pleased. Unless he gets someone who falls down the board. So, I'm not going to do anything to irritate him. We're just going to go Linderbaum and keep moving. Now at 25, we have the Bills taking Kyer Elam here. I mean, it's one of their biggest needs. I mean, besides Tre'Davious White, you really don't have anything at corner. Levi Wallace is now a Steeler. That was your CB2. So you really need to replace the position quickly. And then at 26, I've mocked Jahan Dotson to the Titans a lot. But I'm thinking a little differently. this could be Kenyon Green. And that's what I'm going with this go around. I mean, pretty much any pick past 15, or any pick past 10 really, is nearly impossible to get right. But I see Titans, in my opinion, are either going to go interior O-line, receiver, and maybe a long shot at going quarterback. And then at 27, the Bucks go out and get Jahan Dotson. You know, you had Antonio Brown. Then Antonio Brown did Antonio Brown things. You could make the argument Devonte Wyatt, but you have Vita Vea. He is your D-line. And you would also probably make the argument for interior O-line. There's none that are really graded. There's none that are graded first round, and really none that are graded anywhere until like the late second at this point, at least interior-wise. And then at 28, we're doing the thing. We're not going Treylon Burks, which might shock a lot of people here. I'm going George Pickens. He's had wide receiver 1 potential his entire career. Had an ACL tear in his junior year. Or no, it was in spring training. Was able to come back for the last couple weeks of the season and look pretty good in that time span. And finally, the Packers take a first-round receiver. Wasn't their first pick, but it's still in the first round. And then the Chiefs at 29, I have them going Treylon Burks. I mean, it's not exactly a Tyreek Hill replacement, but I see Treylon Burks also being a wide receiver 1 in the league. We'll see how that pans out. But that's at least my take. And then with their second pick, got them going Daxton Hill, get your Tyrann Mathieu replacement. I mean, what else are you going to do at the position? He's not coming back unless... I mean, he may. We haven't heard of him signing anywhere, and we're a few days from the draft. So, maybe Kansas City doesn't go safety and just thinks that maybe Mathieu come back, but I'm pretty sure Kansas City's out on him. Because if I remember correctly, I don't think they gave him a contract in the first place. Could be wrong though. So it's on me if it is. We'll do that. And then at 31, I've got the Bengals going Devonte Wyatt. It was thought for the longest time that the Bengals were going to go offensive line in this draft. They don't particularly have to anymore. Or if they want to, because they don't need tackles, they could go interior in the second and be fine. They actually have some flexibility now with the offensive line overhaul that they did in the offseason. And now we have the final pick of the draft, and my only other trade of the draft should be up on the screen now. I have the Lions trading out of 32. Remember, they do have 34, so this isn't particularly a big deal if they can still get their guy at 34. But I have them trading with Seattle, and I see Seattle looking at the QB board, knowing they want one, and saying, why don't we go draft one and get a 5th-year option while we do that? And by picking up the 32nd overall pick, you can do that. And then I have them going Desmond Ritter. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the class outside of Willis and Pickett. And as you'll see here, the trades were set to the free-for-all setting so I could just get it to go through. You guys saw the actual compensation that I think would happen. But I mean, with that, this is the final mock draft. We'll see what happens on Thursday. I mean, anything can happen. This is as I said at the start, this is one of the most unpredictable years we've ever seen. I mean, every year is unpredictable, but this is probably one of the most unpredictable. I mean, Logan Hall going at 19 could be a bit of a surprise, you know. Drake London falling to 20. Trevor Penning not being picked in the first could be a surprise. Um, Kenyon Green over Jahan Dotson could be a surprise. George Pickens in the first. There's a lot of big time surprises that could happen. But with that, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys hop into our live reactions on Thursday, either 7 p.m. Eastern or 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And with that, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day.